Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Diana. Today we are talking about the book of Hebrews. In this Devo series, we are looking at key verses in the book of Hebrews. Now, the book of Hebrews, it is a book in the New Testament, and it contains, really what it does is it connects Jesus to the promises and the work of God back in the Old Testament. And as one scholar described, Hebrews shows how Jesus is the fulfillment, and he's greater than what came before. It's a book that encourages and it guides believers in Jesus to see how worthy of worship he is and how full of trust Jesus really is. Well, the book of Hebrews will show how Jesus is greater than leaders in the Old Testament, for example. It will show how Jesus is greater than the better sacrifices, the tabernacle, the priest, and the different covenants, that Jesus actually fulfills those things and he perfects them. He perfects those ways and practices from the Old Testament. With that in mind, listen to the opening verse of the book of Hebrews found in verses 1 through 3. It reads, "In the past, God spoke to our forefathers through the prophets at many times and in various ways. But in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom he made the universe. The Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. After he had provided purification for the sins, Jesus sat down at the right hand of the majesty of the Father in heaven." So in the past, God spoke to his people through the prophets and in various ways and systems like temple sacrifices. But then, at just the right time, God sent his Son Jesus. And Jesus provided the one and only, once and for all purification for sin. Now, at this particular time in history where we are, everything centers and focuses on the life, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus. And Hebrews, it is a book that wisely shouts, Jesus is greater. God's plan to redeem and reconnect with humanity, it found its perfect completion in Jesus. That's what the book is all about. In today's verse, it said that Jesus, and I quote, is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of God's being. What that means is it's saying Jesus is God, that Jesus is Savior, not just a mere prophet, but fully God, fully man. And it said, and I quote, that all things are sustained by his power and his powerful word. I like how Dr. Tony Evans pointed out in his commentary that when people feel like they're coming apart or that their world is coming apart, Hebrews reminds believers that, I quote, he wrote, "If Jesus has the power to keep the universe from unraveling, he has the power to hold you together too." End quote. Today, I want to encourage you to think about and believe that Jesus is greater, that Jesus is in fact holding all things together, that his sacrifice is powerful and complete, not just for others, but for you too. And I want you to believe in the bigness of God. I want you to believe in the completeness of Jesus. I want you to believe in the radiance of Jesus. Why? Because when we remember that Jesus is fully God, when we remember that Jesus is the perfect creator, when we remember that Jesus holds all things together, that he is the perfect sacrifice, he's the perfect priest advocating for his people, then we can rest in his work and his brilliance. We can find peace and confidence in our trust in Jesus. So ponder the impact and the significance of Jesus today. The book of Hebrews is about to unfold and give us fuel for our faith and our confidence in him. We'll see you next time.